finally I thought, you know, maybe college isn't for me. I was a B student at best in high school.
Well, I went to a small high school, Our Lady of Providence. I thought at the time I was going to be a priest.
I was one of the few people in my high school graduating class who were all going off to college, and I, of course, was not.
So I decided to go to CCRI, really to satisfy my mom and dad.
I changed my thoughts, and this was a very good alternative for me. It was reasonable in cost.
I moved out of my house after I graduated high school and thought CCRI would be the best fit for me at that time because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. A couple of favorite professors that I had while I was here were Professor Kate Dunnigan, who really inspired me to pursue history, and of course Joanne Warren in the business department, who continues to make an impact on the lives of students here at CCRI.
Charles Sullivan, he was my literature teacher. He made a subject that wasn't really that interesting to me personally very interesting. As I moved up the ranks in the Rhode Island State Police, I would always get a card, a letter, congratulations, we're proud of you. There was another teacher, I had Anthony Casigi, my public speaking teacher, and I was kind of down one day. I think he saw it. He said, "What's?" He goes, I said, "You know, Mr. Casigi, I'm a semester behind everybody else." He said, "You're 18 years old. What are you behind? You're just a kid." You know, he was so right.
We did our psychiatric rotation at the state hospital, and it opened my eyes to mental illness in a way that I had never seen in the community before. One of my patients was actually a student at Brown. He was so much smarter than I was, I thought. The reality is we were just different, and it gave me a great understanding of really learning about individuals and not necessarily thinking about people as who's smarter than one another or who's brighter than one another, but that we're all given a set of tools, and how we use the tools in our basket is up to us.
I had a composition class with a woman named Ms. Zoic. The skills I learned in writing and written expression during that class have lasted me throughout my life and a lot of every other aspect of my professional career.
I really dedicated all my energies as much as I could to CCRI, and I made the Dean's List. That achievement proved to me that I could do it. The Community College of Rhode Island, I say it builds character and confidence, is what the school did for me.
When I talk about Joe DeMaria, while I was student government president here, he really helped me to pick and choose my battles in life. Joe was always someone you could bounce ideas off of. The same thing with Rebecca Yount. She always encouraged us to be active in the community. The student government had been defunct, and I was approached by people here at the college to see if I was interested in becoming the president, which I was able to do, and had to really build a student government from the ground up here at the college.
We spent a lot of time in the library or in the cafeteria in the corner. You know, we really brainstorm on, you know, especially when it came to calculus or quantitative business analysis or statistics. Those are difficult classes. And by helping other students you would essentially help yourself to learn the materials. Ethics and values and things that I was brought up with, I thought resonated so well with the core values of the state police. Honesty, integrity, work ethic. I really aspired to become that. But my brother said, forget it. You don't know the right people. You're not tall enough. I went to work for a local construction company in Cumberland, J.H. Lynch. The last job that I was on was actually a water main, and that's when I decided, it was a cold winter day, and I told my brother Gary, I'm going to try and get on the state police. I'm currently assigned to the Professional Standards Unit. I'm the Community Liaison Officer for the Community Outreach effort for the state police, and also I handle the legislative issues for the division as well.
I was a junior in high school and I met Bob Carosi. I was involved in something called VICA, which is now Skills USA. And Bob came in as a larger-than-life character. When I came to CCRI and encountered Bob again, I knew that I wanted to continue, being involved in Skills USA. I started working for Bob in 2002. I was hired as the Assistant Director for Skills USA Rhode Island. Bob passed away in 2006. The board made me the interim director, and I was hired as the full-time director in 2007, and I've been doing that ever since. We have students now that were in the Skills USA program who are vice presidents for multinational corporations. We have students that are in law school. We have students that get full tuition scholarships to four-year schools. I find my job incredibly fulfilling.
I graduated in December of 1976. At that time, there weren't a lot of teaching jobs, and the prospect of getting a teaching job wasn't that great, so it was winter break, and a group of us went up skiing. My parents got a call that they were looking for me for an interview, and finally someone came up to the house and said, "You better call home, they're looking for you, you have a job interview." And we got a foot of snow that night, so it was a very tough decision, but I ended up driving back for the interview. The following day, I ended up getting the job and started the next Monday, and I spent the next 34 years teaching for the Cranston Public Schools, teaching in special education. I became involved in the local union, ultimately becoming president for 8 years, and then in November of 2010, I was elected president of the Rhode Island Federation of Teachers.
Healthcare is really important to me. The challenges ahead for us are great in this country. Somehow getting from the Community College of Rhode Island and a nurse who was really just going to work on a floor, which is what I thought I'd do when I graduated, to being someone who was invited to the White House this year to talk about health policy has kind of been a dream come true. But I really believe that the best and biggest way that I can make an impact on the healthcare of every person is to really understand and participate in the healthcare policy discussion.
We decided that the breast cancer walk would be our statewide community service project initiative, and we've raised over $20,000. I have a state officer that started Bags of Dignity, which is an organization that gives foster children a backpack full of supplies that they need. The students organized 50 backpacks for our state officer to bring back.
When I was a youngster, I never saw a state trooper except on the road. Now we go into the schools. We teach leadership. Some of the volunteer work that I do requires after-hours work. To work with such agencies as the Big Brothers, Hispanic Ministers Alliance, Socioeconomic Development for Southeast Asians, Kobe Dennis with Project Night Vision, the Chad Brown section of Providence, and we have many, many other community partners that we work with.
I work for Amos House. I volunteer one morning a week at Amos House in Providence, which I think is a great activity for people to keep you grounded. We're very fortunate in life, and it's great to give back any chance you can.
When I was in St. Louis, I was working at a community health center there. The immunization rate was less than 17% for some of our youth. The nurses and I sort of banded together and said, we've got to make a difference, we've got to do something really different. We actually organized for the St. Louis National Guard to come in on a Saturday and help us to immunize an entire community. We brought the immunization rate up to that part of the St. Louis community up to 95%. Today there's a health center there where there wasn't a health center before, and I feel like we really made a huge impact in that community.
If there's any youngster out there, I shouldn't even say a youngster, if there's an adult out there that wants to thinking about continuing their education, I can think of no better place than CCRI. It was by far the best decision I ever made to come to school here. It gave me my second chance.